Handelsblatt is a very important German newspaper. It has done an analysis for the IFCO Institute based out of Munich, Germany. And according to an analysis of the 9,000 top German companies, the unemployment levels in Germany have hit highest since records started getting gathered in early 2002. So in the 18 years of its existence, of calculating unemployment levels of the top 9,000 German companies, the indicators show that German unemployment is now highest in 18 years. United States has shown its jobless claims to have reached over 3.3 million. It had overcome the levels of 6,63,000 during the Great Recession and 6,75,000 sometime in April 1982. So this shows the level of damage, economic damage that the coronavirus is causing and the disruption that it is causing to the economy in various parts of the world. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison is convening a very urgent cabinet meeting and is considering a complete lockdown of New South Wales and Victoria, two important states in Australia, for a period as much as 6 months. And there are many cases now in Sydney of clusters of viruses being found in many parts of Sydney. So therefore, the Sydney beaches are being closed. And I presume, although I do not have information, the Sydney Opera will also be closing very soon. Well, the cases and the curve in the United States, and particularly New York City, are flattening a little bit if you see the data for the last few days. But they are increasing now in the southern hemisphere, in countries like Australia where winter is just seeping in. This is a very preliminary observation. So the coronavirus cases refuse to die, and they are now extending from one country to another and are assuming rather alarming proportions. A big eye is also there on India, which is entering the phase 3, and that community transmission is one of the most dangerous because the cases multiply the fastest in that arena. India has released an economic package today. Many food to the poor, many freebies have been announced by the government to try and bail out the poorest of the poor people. The government has also announced the plan to pay the employees' provident fund, both the employer's share as well as the employee's share, for a period of 6 months. This is provided that the number of employees in an organization do not exceed 100 and that the maximum salary of any employee is not more than 15,000. Now, this is okay step, but by just paying the provident fund, how is the economy going to benefit? The problem right now is there is a disruption in business activity. I mean, you may pay the provident fund later on. Does that make so much difference? Will that bring business activity back to normal? There are disruptions in supply chains, in the availability of basic food products, vegetables, oil, pulses, and the government, instead of announcing these small measures to pay the provident fund, should have announced measures to streamline the movement of essential commodities. It should have been more procedural at this point of time. It's very good on the part of Narendra Modi to have announced a complete lockdown of the country, but at the same time, are people getting their basic necessities, the pulses, the rice, the basic things that a common person needs to survive are not available in the proportions that they desire? So I believe that the government should put more efforts in that direction. More procedural rather than just paying the employees' provident fund is a very small thing. If you don't pay now, you can pay after 3 months. But that does not save the country. There is a health perspective, At the same time, you do not waste time and money right now in just meeting these financial needs. A very wise economist has commented that unless and until the healthcare needs of the world are taken care of, merely throwing bazookas one after the another by the US Federal Reserve, by the US government, by White House, by Indian government is not going to serve any purpose. Dow futures, as a reaction to the rising unemployment claims had turned sharply negative, more than 300. They have entered into some positive territory. I believe that they should be very subdued till 1 o'clock New York time. And thereafter, I'm expecting the Dow Jones to claw back into positive territory, do well for the rest of the trading sessions. That means the last 2.5 hours of trading on the NYSE is expected to be quite good. And that is something which is to be well considered. Cases in Spain and Italy have risen quite sharply. Number of deaths also have gone quite dramatically. Switzerland now reporting further cases. I believe that the world needs a booster not only in terms of the healthcare facilities, but and also they need some sort of an economic stimulus. If there are so many people, half the world is going to be under a lockdown shortly. People are going to be restricted as far as their movements are concerned. At least the respective governments should make sure that the basic food supplies are available. If they have to announce a lockdown, give the people 2 days time maybe, and make sure that those basic necessities are. Otherwise, what's happening is that people are queuing up in serpentine queues, whether it is in Costco in United States or in various fair price shops in India, or in Tesco in United Kingdom. It's the same story. People are queuing up. With the growing uncertainty, people are just trying to safeguard themselves. And Australia, I don't know by what way is it announcing, or a 6 months shutdown. That's quite heavy. I mean, you announce it in steps and see for it. It is very likely that some antidote for the coronavirus may be found. If that is the case, rather than overwhelm the population of 6 months, now you can imagine if you're it's like a jail. I mean, you're restricted in every way. And do not forget, it is a human being's well-being is not only the physical well-being, but there is also what is called a mental well-being. One can, in an atmosphere which is extremely restricted and jail-like, you can feel very claustrophobic, and you may not be able to perform or do your basic office duties sitting at home for extended periods of time. People need to have social activities. So focus on healthcare activities right now. Don't announce very heavy lockdowns. Keep them short. Try very hard to restrict the coronavirus cases for the next few weeks. If luck is on your side, maybe something like what President Donald Trump says is fine may come out true. He is expecting packed churches by April 12. That is Easter Sunday. So there is no harm, and I think it's always good to be positive. But hopefully what Donald Trump says will come out true. Udacity, the famous online learning company, is now giving free online training to many people who have been laid off as a result of the coronavirus, like Marriott Hotels, Hilton, many of these airline companies. So they are offering them nano degrees. What they would normally cost about $400 a month, now Udacity is giving it for free. So these sorts of philanthropic acts of various companies will stand in good deed. Rather than watching the television and constantly monitoring where the coronavirus cases are, where they are increasing, I would suggest and request the viewers of my videos to focus on positive thinking, to try and bring a little philanthropy in their heart. Make a small meal for somebody, for an elderly person who is unable to make the meal himself. I think that's how you make money. Happy investing. Take care. Bye.